Hey, what's up, guys? Just a quick recap from today. Really great trade here on AMD. We got the follow through that we were looking for. If you guys had runners still for that 155 level after yesterday's sell off, congratulations. Those did very, very well. But very simple chart, right, where we had this downtrend breakout that occurred, I would say Wednesday, Thursday. Remember, we didn't want to take calls into the resistance here from 153 to 155. Instead, it's always important to see if we can catch a higher low immediately off those EMAs. It's kind of what I look for. But it had a nice pullback here to the 920 or 1020, 921, whatever you guys have. Mitigated volume, right? And obviously that's the reason I took the trade yesterday. We had FOMC rate decision announcement that obviously popped them 60%, and then they sold down, but they still held there very nicely. I don't think anyone was really expecting the gap up, unless, like I said, unless you were kind of gambling, or I mean, if we take a look broadly across the market, like really quick, take a look at that candle. I mean, it didn't look very good. Obviously, it was off of the EMAs. The volume wasn't crazy, but if you take a look at QQQ, right? I mean, this had pretty good volume here. Looked like a shooting star. I mean, Spike was kind of the same thing. Shooting star on an all-time high sweep. I think the least likely thing people were expecting was a gap up, right? So if you held those calls, they did really well, as I said. They basically gapped up into the top of the progression gap, or the bottom of it, I should say, held it as support, and then rallied all the way to 155, and then some. Obviously, they hit about like 159 as the high. So those contracts absolutely flew. So good trade there. Recap on Tesla as well. This was very simple, right? We had a fake breakout over that 234.27 resistance within the gap that I was speaking about. And what did it do? Kind of the same thing, right? Kind of a shooting star, fake breakout over the top, a little bit higher than the Tuesday high. So this really faked people out twice, right, within the same week. Today ended up kind of obviously opening just about at that level. And then obviously pulled down. That's our open low, and then we push for a high, and then we close very strong near the high. So I actually expect continuation tomorrow. These are usually useful to have some kind of Fibonacci level here, just in case it does pull back. We'll look at how it opens tomorrow on pre-market. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I expect this to open midway through this candle or somewhere near the highs in pre-market. Could be a nice scalp to finish this off to 246 using those 250 calls, maybe 0 DTE. But yeah, this was a really good trade. Very, very simple. Kind of the same system that I used the last time, or what I told everybody to use. Just wait for the 15 size light on these. Obviously, did we get a pullback onto this level? No, that's the most important thing to acknowledge. We didn't get a breakout. Very basic pullback and hold of the level and then start trending, right? We didn't do that. What did we do? We broke out, created some distance between the lows of those candles and the level that we wanted retested. It was about $1.60 of risk. So what did I do? I started decently light. I had about 8 contracts, and what did I have? Further dated contracts. I didn't buy 0DT. I didn't do anything crazy like that. I bought 2 weeks out just so I could absorb any kind of pullback to that level and then add at that level if it showed. Obviously bidders there, good volume coming in, a good strong candle to signal buyers wanted to push it off of that level, and then yeah, that would have been a heavier position, but yeah, just didn't give me the opportunity. It's okay. Not every trade is perfect, but I did add in this general area here. I did have my fibs pulled just in case, right, to kind of like make sure. I think the level itself was like literally right at the 618, right? That was the initial high. So 234.27 would have been the 618. I was salivating for that, but we didn't get it, and it just kind of continued, right? It broke out, consolidated here. When it's in a gap like this, there's no reason for it to distribute, right? It's just going to keep going, and that's kind of what happened, right? It just consolidated, broke out, consolidated, and I think we get another continuation off of this consolidation in these highs here, up to 246 if we don't gap up. But that was really all I did today. I took some trims on shop as well, so congrats if you guys had shop. We had a really nice gap up from the highs on Wednesday, right? Just very simple chart. I mean, I told you guys a lot of these accumulations from 2022 are going to move very, very quickly, so it's important to get into them and just hold. Right, remember, pull back here, held the progression gap. I wish I would have got in here, but held the progression gap. And since the progression gap entry, I mean, we've moved roughly 10% on this. So really nice trade here. Majority of profits were taken into this gap fill at 77.05. We are now basing 77.05, which I did, emphasize back here that we have an entry that's potentially here, right? It's basing this current high here, it's basing the gap, and there's a catalyst coming end of October. So I think we can maybe chop around here a little bit, maybe put in one more lower high, somewhere in this range, right, where this little red box is. Anyway, like I guess the best way to put it is I'm bullish here, right? Remember, this whole level is like, this whole range is a level, right? If I go from here to here. So I'm bullish here, and I'm bullish here. So I think shop's going to keep going all the way to 90. So I'm still looking to long this. Now, if I can really just tie this into kind of the scan for tomorrow, I mean, it's pretty simple. I really like Tesla. Just depending how we open tomorrow. If we open near the highs, less inclined to take this. But if we can open on some kind of pullback and actually get the retest, right? If we can get some kind of daily retest without it touching this gap, that's beautiful. That's an opportunity to run the same trade twice, so I would look to long that. And if it holds 234, obviously I'll go a little bit more dated contracts so I can hold through any shenanigans. But yeah, this is still on watch for me. That's just a really strong bar, so I think it closes it tomorrow. We'll just have to see in pre-market. Shop, though, Shop's another great one. I want to see some consolidation here around 77.05. If it can build out some rest days and just kind of consolidate against this 77 spot, I'm going to be looking at 90 calls, right? And I'm probably going to target, I would probably say like November, December. Remember, I'm in the, I still have the Marches. I have so much time left on all these contracts, guys, so I might just go into like I don't want to go to October. I'll probably just roll into November's or just re-add into some of my contracts. But this trade's not done, so I really like Shop here. Weekly did exactly what I wanted it to do. All right, you guys take a look here. Let me just remove some of my stuff really quickly. Like, this chart's so pretty. Like, this is why you do this stuff. Like, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful chart. Broke, pulled back 2 weekly bars off of this old lower highs and holding a support, and then we get a higher high. So really, really beautiful chart. Just looking for a third kind of base up here. So yeah, really just going to be watching Tesla, likely Shop. I like MU as well. I actually might start this, contrary to my belief that this does have a nice drop into 81.50. I might just start some and then be willing to add down here. I mean, earnings is coming up September 25th, so it's like 5 days around the corner, guys. So if it drops into 81.5, I might add into these, but I'll probably start like 2 or 3 tomorrow. I forgot what I had on my watch list. I think it was like, I want to say it was March of 2025. So it's definitely like a longer dated contract, so I'm not too concerned about entry. Just making sure I add in the correct trend. So MU is going to be on watch. TSM, guys, TSM was really pretty today. Obviously we had that big gap up. I mean, this is perfect. This is right off that range I said. I said I saw that flow come in for the 160 puts. Those guys got toasted, so I really don't care too much about flow, but I was hoping they were right so we can get a more ads at like 165. But I mean, this level is tried and true, right? 165 to 168. I trust my charts, so held a support. We gapped up from the close all the way to the open here, like $7 or so, and then obviously pushed 10, and then I did say that there's an opportunity if it can just kind of base this, right? Maybe just chop around here for a little bit. I don't know how long. Maybe MU earnings is what does it, but I think this is the last path to 180, 186, 187. So that's what I'm going to be looking for as well. So TSM, Tesla, Shop, probably the main 3 that I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself to add a huge trade tomorrow. I've had a really good week, and I've really mitigated the TSM loss from a few weeks back now, or 2 weeks, or whatever it was. So let's just keep up the good vibes. Let's keep up everybody, being disciplined, making sure that we're not giving it to our emotions. It's really big, especially during FOMC week. You feel like you can miss out on a lot, but these charts are speaking to you. The only thing that's stopping you from trading them is just your own fear, right? And like a lot of people get very scared during events like this. It's important to just trust these and trust your plan, and that's what I've been doing. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see how SPY does with this current candle. It could be a spinning top. We'll see. But tomorrow we do have, or today No, tomorrow's ex-dividend, so people likely piled into calls today, calls and shares, obviously, trying to get the dividend payout. And then with those calls, and a lot of people have been in calls for a while, right? A lot of calls are in the money going into this OPEX. So a lot of people might have just exercised their shares today as the last day to be able to claim that 100 shares per contract, right, that close in the money, and then be eligible for that dividend payout. So we might see some take profit tomorrow from that ex-dividend now that people have gotten their dividend. And then obviously out of the money calls should be wiped off the books. It's very, very call saturated right now. So we could see a pretty bloody day tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised to see a gap down. Remember, I talked about it as well. We had those crazy dark pool prints. I need to see what they finished at. Looks like it was 61 prints, guys. We haven't seen one that big in a long time, and it's at 561.3. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us push all the way back down. And that's the high I took, but a move all the way back down underneath that all-time high and give us a really nice weekly candle close, right? That ends up giving us a sweep look on the weekly, and then obviously us trade lower. That would be pretty nice to be able to see a lot of people that bought this breakout get trapped, and then we can look for an entry. As I said, somewhere higher low in this general range here, right? And I'm not going to do it on this. I'm going to do it with QQQ, just to emphasize that. But yeah, we'll see if those contracts can print tomorrow. About a week on those with 5 contracts, so we'll see if it's even worth adding or if we need to cut these or whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty excited. I haven't seen one with 61 prints in a long time. So remember, the way I do it is probably not the best way, right? I mean, I look at it as like a liquidity pool, so I do expect price to suck down into that, especially with sellers, and obviously as people sell, people are going to be looking to buy as well, right? So there's a liquidity pool with that, and that's a lot of money. It's a lot of orders. So ideally, those two both play in tandem. Market gravitates and facilitates to that 561 spot. If it, I think the best way to go about it is actually wait to buy off 561.40 rather than short the unknown and then obviously let it come down. I'm just trying to double dip this with light size. So just kind of give you guys a background. It's probably best to wait for this to sell down to 561 and then long it off 561. But yeah, just kind of a way I like to do it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Let's see what ends up happening. There's no real data. So I'm pretty excited to kind of just finish out the month of September. Was pretty much right, man. I mean, if we kind of look back on the month, I was right about everything. Not everything. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. Obviously, it wasn't as smooth as I thought it was. TSM would have been a huge win. But, every trade is its own beast, right? And nothing ever goes perfect. It's important to recognize that. And it's important to recognize that the easy trade is usually the wrong trade and the hard trade is usually the right one. So, I mean, that's why options are so hard too, because you need to be able to have time behind you to be able to survive structural pullbacks and just weird days in the market. They do happen. So, I mean, the market looks like it priced in FOMC, right? The 50 BPS cut. It looks like it's been. I mean, it's been crazy. And it looks like we're kind of already pricing out. Whatchamacallit? I can't even think now. I've been talking for so long. I'm going to end it here, though. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And let's wrap up the week on a good note.